It's important that you use this syllabus template so that we all have kind of equal syllabi, so it's easier for people to use the checklist to go over the syllabus. However, this doesn't mean that it has to look generic or the same for everybody in terms of style. So there is an easy way to change the font colors and the fonts that are used so that it looks a little bit different. This also helps to differentiate it visually for all the different syllabi that you might be creating for yourself. So all of this template was created to be accessible. So just don't change things like this right here is a heading 2 and there's a hierarchy. So up here we have heading 1. And so you can't really just highlight this and change the font and style because it might revert back to normal and then we wouldn't have an accessible document. So a couple things we can do. We can go to the design section. And so even though I'm using a Mac, if you're on a PC, you should still see the tabs and you should still see a design tab. And you go to that section and you should see buttons for colors and fonts. So right now you can choose any of the theme colors. I'm using red violet. This is not actually the color that comes with the template, so you can kind of already see it in action. So if I were to choose a different color, you can see that all of the headings and the heading 2 and all of that stuff, it will update based on that color palette. So that's again a good reason why we're using those headings, is because then we can make global changes to the entire document and not have to spend all this time making, just basic color and font changes. So again, you can choose any kind of format you want. The only thing that you have to be really careful with is contrast. So if this was too light, it would be hard to read on a white background. And this is especially true when thinking about 1 in 4 men are colorblind. So be really conscious of that contrast. Make sure that it's very easy to read for people. So same thing, you can come up here and choose fonts. So right now I have a specific font set. So let's do something totally different. So if I choose Franklin Gothic Medium or the Franklin Gothic family set, then you can see there's a slight change here. I don't know if we have something really different. So that gives you some control that you can have a little bit of visual difference. So one thing I did want to tell you is, let's see, I did this and I actually don't like what was happening there. And let's say I wanted this this palette, but for some reason this was too light. It's not too light, but just pretend that it was. And you like everything else about this, but for some reason this heading is just too light. What you can do is you can go to the Home tab, highlight one of the heading 2, and you can change it to whatever color you want. So if I wanted to even do, let's say, a red. So with that, if I highlight it, I can come up to heading 2 on the Home tab, and I can do update to match the selection. And that's going to make all the heading 2s throughout my document the same styling that I just applied to this heading 2. So that's a way to make your own global changes and do a little bit more of a customized font and color scheme.